Hello. Something tells me that this could be a long one because I've not posted anything for the entirety of March, but have been filming stuff, so it'll be like a March catch-up mishmash. Top line is, I have not been in a good headspace and I've not been looking after myself. To sum it up, if you're not interested in hearing me elaborate on that, just skip forward to the fun vlog bit. But to elaborate on that, yeah, I've not been in a good headspace this month. I would actually describe it as a paralysing headspace, whereby I've gotten into a very bad habit of a lot of negative self-talk, just telling myself, convincing myself that I'm not good enough, that everything I do is just rubbish, and I mean that from on a kind of like creative level. This applies a lot to like creative endeavours, whether it's house stuff or video or Instagram content. And that has then led me to withdraw quite a lot, but has also tipped me into this comparison trap, which I know many of you will relate to because, and not just on a creative level, in so many areas of life, how once you are in the comparison trap, how much it can just take hold and completely paralyze you from doing the things that you love or want to do, and just making you feel really rubbish. And that's what's happened. So like the negative self-talk combined with the comparison has just got me into this paralysing headspace where I'm just like, well, I'm just not going to post because it's all rubbish and it's just not good enough, and it's not good, and I'm disappointed with myself because towards the back end of all of those lockdowns and that year after the very intense part of COVID, I worked really hard on myself to get to a place where I was very sort of like self-confident, because that's the other thing, I've lost a lot of self-confidence this month. And I worked so hard to kind of get to a point where I was like very sort of self-assured and very kind of like in my own lane and not comparing. And yeah, I put a lot of measures in place and kind of just like figured out what works for me and how to kind of stop those feelings from bubbling up again. So to kind of get into this place again after all those years and not look after myself and not put in the measures to kind of stop it from getting really, really bad just disappoints me really. It's just been bubbling over, and it's been bubbling under the surface, and I've let it bubble over, and then I've not tried to put the lid back on. I've just continued to just fall into the pit of comparison and just talking negatively to myself. And yeah, it's rubbish. It's rubbish, isn't it? Like, you just get yourself into such a state where you're just like, well, what's the point? But I was like, I need to get out of it, because otherwise I could get myself to an even darker place, which I really don't want to get to. So I was like, I just need to post. I just need to post. It's not like anything's changed in terms of like what I'm posting or whatever. It's just my headspace that's changed, which has now convinced me that everything I do is rubbish. So I was like, I just need to post. I just need to post the things that I have filmed throughout March and get my focus back. Get my focus back in my lane and remember what it is that I like to do. Remember what it is that brings me joy. I am here now. So apologies for the slightly down, the sort of bad energy intro. Here is everything that I have filmed throughout the whole of March. Check out the studio. I can't remember if it had cladding on when I last showed you. Anyway, it's fully clad now. This is a temporary door and window. This is an old internal door, and then this is just a window that Dean's made up. We had to do this because the structure needed to be watertight, so that the inside could be plastered, so that obviously no rain could get in and potentially damage the plaster. But we've had huge delays on the double oak doors that we had on order, and it's getting to the point now where we're actually going to have to think of another plan, because even the manufacturer doesn't really know when the doors are going to actually be put back into production. And it's already been, I think we put the door order in before Christmas, so yeah, we just need to think of something else. It's a shame because it would have been lovely to have had full oak doors, but I think we can come up with something that looks just as nice. Anyway, let's go in, because I can actually show you some progress inside. So like I said, we had to get a door and a window on to make it watertight so it can be plastered. It has had a mist coat to seal the plaster, electrician is coming in a couple of days to put adjustable downlights here, because this side of the room will be Dean's side. He will be using this as his painting area, which is why he put a massive window in there, because he wanted a big window looking out into the garden as his view. And then I will be using this side as an office / content space, because I used to use like a kind of paper backdrop quite a lot for content, and it's really handy to have, but it's such a big thing to set up in the house. So this will be a space where I can have that out more easily. So I'll have a desk here, I reckon. That's going to be a nice pendant light. I just need to find an actual pendant shade for it. And then I can have like a sort of studio, like a shooting setup here, which will be quite good because the light will come in, because this won't be a solid door. This is going to be two glass, either double doors, or we're just going to have a sliding door. So there'll be lots of light coming in through this side, and then I can just have my backdrop here, and then I'll have direct light on me. And I think in terms of next steps, the floor is the priority now. So we're looking for a hard-wearing, low-maintenance tile that looks better with age. Nothing that needs cleaning loads and nothing delicate. So we're looking at maybe like a brick slip. I would love a raw Zelig tile, and I've seen them get really good with age, but they are quite expensive. So we're exploring several different options. We're even kind of looking at, just like a kind of garden tile, because obviously they're meant to go outside, so they can withstand a lot of wear. So we're kind of thinking we could even use that in here. For the walls, we're probably going to go for something that's just ever so slightly off-white, slightly warm-toned, but nothing too warm-toned, nothing like we've used in the house, because we want to keep this space very, with the white balance, we just want to keep it quite white, basically. So, because I'll be using it for content, so I don't want anything to kind of create weird colours around the room, which Schoolhouse White, which we've used in the house a lot, and I love, but it can lean very yellow on some days and then very green on other days, depending on how the light is outside. And then also because Dean's using it for painting, he just doesn't want anything that's going to like hugely affect the colour in here. So just something slightly warm toned, but like barely noticeable, and then we will spray paint the radiators the same colour as the walls. So hopefully in the next week or so, we will have a floor and a solid decision on what's happening with the doors and the windows. Today's pop of green was hugely inspired by the Rose Spring Summer 24 collection and the styling within that collection. It's probably one of my favourite collections, I think, because of how casual it feels and how inspiration it feels versus aspirational, whereas I think a lot of their previous collections, as much as I love them and I love the theatrics and the sharp tailoring and everything, trying to take inspiration from it is not that easy with just like kind of everyday clothes, whereas this collection felt like that. There was lots of practical outerwear, trenches, like raincoats, nice pops of colour, lots of light denim, really like slouchy casual layering, kind of Birkenstock style clogs. Yeah, it just felt like a collection where I was like, oh, I can take quite a lot of inspiration from that, as I have done today. And daughter jumper, but this is a couple of years old, so I'm not 100% sure if the colour is still available. Trench is from a brand called Foam, but it's spelt, I think it's like 440ME. It's one of those brand names that looking at it, you've got no idea how to pronounce it. Similarly to like Essence, for ages I just thought Essence was Sense, as I'm sure many other people did. So, and then when I found out it was Essence, I was like, oh, makes total sense. This brand was like that. When I was told it was pronounced Foam, I was like, okay. Slouchy, really light wash vintage Levi's. Like I had these tailored, but they're still like super, super baggy. And then canal suede loafers from the Row. And then I'm just going to take my Speedy 30 in the black epi leather. Hi, this is present day me, just interrupting the flow of the vlog because there is a clip that was supposed to be here at this point that I can't find. I actually think it got lost during the corruption that happened to my memory card. My 7-year-old nephew got hold of my vlog camera literally for 5 seconds. I don't know what he did. He managed to break it and then corrupt the card that was inside it. So there was a clip, I think, on that memory card where I spoke about how when I got back from Paris, I felt like my skin's texture had changed quite significantly, and I was having some unusual flare-ups that I'd not had before, some very bumpy, sore, red flare-ups. And you'll see in a few clips, I've almost got sort of like small scabs on the side of my face, and that's from where I've picked at that, which is not good. But what I had figured was that potentially there was some damage to my skin's barrier, and that's why I was getting this irritation. I also think I was over cleansing my skin, which was causing that skin barrier damage. So that is what I'm referring to in a few of the clips where I talk about my skin, because when I came back from Paris, I kind of really pulled back on my skincare routine, like took it really back to basics to try and like get my skin to calm down and just figure out the best plan of action. So I just went back to literally just gentle cleanser, hyaluronic, like a toner, hyaluronic, and then moisturizer, and then that was it. Why do I insist on vlogging at times where I just look? This is kind of like my lounge wear combo at the moment. Okay, I've woken up this morning and I feel like my skin has we are turning a corner. So I just hadn't quite clipped my hair whilst it's drying. I like to clip it just to give it a bit of a curve here. Anyway, I feel like I've turned a corner with my skin, and it is, I hope, largely due to the 5 products that I've been relying on at the moment, and also just the fact that I've stopped double cleansing with a balm cleanser. I think, I can't remember if I said this, but I did a bit of a deep dive into kind of skin barrier issues and found a lot of people discussing how double cleansing can contribute to a damaged skin barrier, but also balm cleansers, like over cleansing with a balm cleanser, can as well. And I'm very guilty of using balm cleansers quite heavily. So I went cold turkey. I've only been using an oil cleanser in the evening, and then I've been using just water in the morning. And then after that, I've been using either one or the other, or sometimes both, the Lessie Regeneration Mist, which is a barrier restoring mushroom and jojoba spray. I think not cleansing in the morning does feel a bit strange because I want that kind of refreshed feeling that comes with cleansing. So this kind of gives me that, whilst also being very good for my skin. And then also the Ilia Base Face Milk, which is a lightweight moisturizer barrier renewal complex. So doing the same thing as this, but this is more of it's a milk, it's a fluid. It's not quite a toner, but it's definitely not the consistency of a moisturizer. It's very lightweight, and it just feels really nice. I see quite a visible difference, just a nice glow once I've kind of patted that on the skin. So I sometimes will, when I do both, it's a spritz of this, let it dry down, then this, and then after that it's straight in with hydration, because that is my main kind of thing that I'm just tackling at the moment. I'm not doing any exfoliating, acid, like nothing, just hydration. La Roche-Posay, Hyalur B5. This is, it's one of those products that, like, I don't know why I deviate away from this, because when I'm using it, my skin is just looking like so much more hydrated and just more plumped. And then I get distracted by something else, and then I come back to this. I'm like, I shouldn't have deviated away from this. So I'm going to endeavour to stick with this because I love the texture of it as well. It sits really nicely under makeup. To aid with the healing, I've already done my foundation and concealer, so that's actually looking slightly better than it actually is underneath. But to aid with the healing of where I've picked, because I've said I'm prone to scarring, as I observe the healing of this, I do think this redness is going to hang around quite a while. So I've been using Cicaplast, just spraying a bit in my hands and then dabbing it on where I've picked to kind of just help with the repair of the skin, because there are some areas where I've been really quite aggressive. So this is helping with that. And then in the evening, I'm using the Tailoring moisturiser. In the day, instead of this, it's an SPF. And that is it. That is all I am doing. And I think it's working. Right, switching. Okay, calling these outfits this week spring outfits I think is a bit of a stretch. Maybe I'm going to call them spring hopeful outfits, because let's face it, all of them are just going to have a coat chucked over the top. As much as I would love to leave the house in just this, a coat is required. Anyway, knit vest is quite an old one from MHL, but they're very consistent with the styles that they do. So I imagine a V-neck knit vest is kind of quite easy to find from either Margaret Howe or the MHL line. This t-shirt is from Generica, and these, I can't remember what the style name of this t-shirt is, but fast becoming my favourite t-shirts. I've now got 3 of them because I love them so much. I always kind of want a clean one in rotation. And the reason I like them so much, and this is a very small detail that I think many of you will appreciate, is that they are slightly off-white. They're not bright white. I love a black and white look, as illustrated here, but I don't like a really bright white with a black. I think it's sometimes a little bit too much, especially when the white is like blue toned, like blue leaning. Whereas this has a slight warm tone to it, but I wouldn't class it as cream. Just ever so slightly warm, so it kind of just subdues that contrast. And actually I think complements, it's in harmony with black. And I'm wearing a small. I'm pretty sure I wear a small in these. Cosbell Generica jeans. I got these back from the tailor about 2 days ago. These are the new Bellum style jean. I'm wearing a waist 24. They're designed to sit on the hip. And I just had a couple of inches taken off because the 32 was obviously too long. And this fit is like spot on. I really like the way the Row Egglita jeans look, but do not appreciate the price tag, obviously. And I tried them on when I was in Paris and they just didn't look good on me. They're quite a low, they're basically like this. They're low rise and they have a wide leg. And when I got these back from the tailor, because I took these to the tailor before Paris without thinking about the Egglita fit. And then when I tried on the Egglita, I was like, oh man, gutted that they don't fit the way I thought they were going to fit. And then when I got these back from the tailor, I was like, this is the fit. This is the fit that I wanted. And I think I've managed to get a real sweet spot with the length as well. Like they don't quite touch the floor, but if I have a slightly flatter shoe, they will just skim the floor. Yeah, I'm just super pleased with the fit of these. And because I think as with a wide leg jean, being short, sometimes it can just feel like there's too much fabric. So I'm always trying to look for a good balance between wide, straight, because straight can be quite slim, wide can be too wide. I'm like, where's the middle ground? Voila, here is the middle ground. You've seen the hallway several times. This is our front door, but I'm not sure if I've shown you what lurks behind this door. So this is the side of our house, and through this door is an extension that was built years ago, and it was a kind of wet room / utility room for the previous owner. We have been using it as a very chaotic storage space / utility. It's the type of room where the door stays very much shut at all times, unless we are popping in to get something or use the washing machine. But it needs to be entirely emptied completely in preparation for smashdown in a few days. So I need to organise all of this, like really go through it and be quite cutthroat. This is the stuff that you hold on to that you don't need all year round. Like there's sun cream up there somewhere, like a big bag of sun cream. There's beach towels, this is candles. That's just like laundry detergents and other laundry bits. That's a big box of medicine. I think that's camping stuff in there. But yeah, you can see there was the shower. This was obviously the curtain rail, toilet. There is a sink hiding under there somewhere. Bathroom cabinet, and then washing machine and tumble dryer. So washing machine will go into the kitchen because that needs to be connected up to water. And then we've got electricity in the garage. So the fridge, the fridge is going to be in the garage for a bit. So it's going to be trips out to the garage to get anything from the fridge, and then tumble dryer also potentially in the garage. I think it's going to be a tight squeeze to get both of these in our kitchen. So yeah, that's the job over the next couple of days, is get this fully cleared, ready for this space to be demolished. Okay, swatched every colour on every wall to see how they look on the different walls because the light hits them all differently. I know, everyone will say you should have put them on paper and then move them around, but we did that last time and I actually found that to be more annoying, just faffing about with those bits of paper.
I don't think it works on the paper as well as
yeah, I actually just found it more of a hindrance than a help, those bits of paper. Anyway, these are all from Paint and Paper Library. We've also just swatched a tiny bit of Schoolhouse White on every single wall because we have that in our house and we know how that looks once it's painted on a larger scale. We're kind of leaning towards this one, which is slate. Lovely. And sand. So slate one, sand one. Is that right?
That's Schoolhouse White. And that's
Schoolhouse White next to it. So we feel like because you're going to use this a lot for painting, we don't want to go something as dark as because when you look at canvas with Schoolhouse White, they are virtually the same colour.
Oh, quite neutral.
And we need it neutral, but just a tiny bit warm leaning and just softer than a very, very bright white, which is what we've tried there. And it's just, that's a bit too bright. That stone, that's a bit too, it's got too much of a pinky undertone to it. So it's these two.
It's definitely these two.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to paint those two on an even larger scale. It's the more I look at it, the more I'm actually leaning more towards sand now.
I prefer sand.
I was slate, but then when I look on this wall, I don't know, they just change on every single wall, but I guess I have to think about, this will be where my desk is, and you'll be painting here.
Yeah. And we will get more lighting when we have a proper...
Yeah, this is diffusing the light at the moment. Also, it's a really grey day. This is probably the worst day to try and pick a white. Or the best day, yeah, maybe the best day. It's just when there is sun, colours like these can really bounce some weird tones around the room. Like we found with Schoolhouse White, it sometimes looks almost green in the bedroom when the sun comes out.
We could paint this back wall seems to be the darkest wall.
Yeah.
From the looks of all the colour.
But then that's quite dark over there in the corner.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we just paint a big amount on this wall.
Yeah.
In sand.
And then when I look at them on that wall, sand looks darker than it does over there. Let's really up the exposure, try and make things look sunnier than they actually are. I am just getting myself ready because I'm venturing out into this torrential rain to go to an osteopath. This is the first time I've ever been to an osteopath because I have quite a fear of having things cracked and pushed and clicked and all that kind of thing. I hate massages, absolutely hate them for the same reason. A facial is pretty much where it stops for me. I can't stand anything on the body. But rather comically, I guess, we were tidying the garden a couple of weeks ago and I was raking a lot of the leaves up with a rake that was far too big and heavy for me. It was so heavy. It was a rake that Dean uses on site to rake concrete. It is not your typical garden rake, but I was like, it's fine, it's fine. Damaged, I've done something to my shoulder basically. And it's kind of getting more and more painful. I'm getting a lot of pain all the way down my back on the left side. Everything's very tight across here. It's really affecting the mobility of my arm now. And actually, sometimes when I look in the mirror, I think I'm a little bit lopsided. One of my shoulders is sloping down. And Dean was like, you need to go to the osteopath for this. This is not going to just fix itself. So I was like, fine, I need to overcome my fear. He goes once a month, obviously because of his job. He's got chronic pain somewhere, at all times. It's either knee pain, back pain or shoulder pain. So he goes once a month. But he was telling me actually, the last time he went, which was about 3 weeks ago, the osteopath was telling him how at this time of year he tends to get a bit busier because people start going outside more, and typically injure themselves when they're gardening. And I just thought it was so funny that that is why I've got to go to the osteopath, because I was raking and I wasn't doing it with the right kind of rake. But it's really, really painful now. Like, I can't really sit for prolonged periods of time because I start, like, it's really affecting my posture, the way I sit. Like, I'm already quite round-shouldered and my posture's not great, but this is making it even more noticeable, even worse. Like, I can feel it now, like I'm kind of walking around like this. So yeah, I'm quite nervous about it. I was like, what will he do? And Dean was like, he'll just adjust, he'll just do like some adjustments. But yeah, I'm just a bit scared. I'm just scared of like things being like clicked back into place and stuff, even though I know when I come out the other side of it, I'll feel better. Oh yes, love a full navy look when going from winter to spring. You know how much I love navy. I actually prefer navy over black, but I think because it's a more difficult colour to pair with other colours versus black, I end up wearing more black than I do navy, but I actually think navy is a bit more complementary on my hair colour than black. Anyway, I like to fall back on navy because it feels like a break away from all the black and the grey, without kind of committing to spring clothes, because it's definitely not the temperatures for it just yet. Anyway, this full navy look compromises of this COS jumper, which is quickly becoming my wardrobe MVP because it's actually cropped on me. Like, it's a very good one for short people. And because I always look for cropped things because cropped means it's going to be the right length on me, but this is actually cropped on me, which is great because when wearing kind of like more exaggerated shapes on my lower half, this is a good balancing piece. And I could just do like a little tuck at the front and then the rest of it just hangs out around the waist. COS belt. The rose skirt, this is the Rose Jacko skirt, which I found on Vestiaire like 2 years ago. It's such a good skirt. It's 100% wool, so it's quite heavy, but it's heavy in a very like nice, secure way, and it has a very nice movement to it. And then the Rose canal boots. So I've just added black accessories because I think full navy would be a bit much. And I do quite like black and navy together. And then Monica Vinader rings, Leo Studio earrings. This is a very me look, isn't it? It's very me. Okay, just looking at this outfit, I think it might benefit from a belt, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally going out I've got to get Dean some birthday presents. I need to take another pair of jeans to the tailor, possibly go to the laundrette because we still don't have a washing machine. This is an oldish one from Nothing Written. The closest I've seen to this, I mean, I haven't really looked hard enough, but I know that Anne Daughter have got a jumper that's very similar in shape and length. It's the grey version of the green one I have. It's not quite as cropped, but it's got a similar shape to it and a really nice V-neck. T-shirt underneath is one of the Uniqlo U ones with the really thick band. I like to wear these underneath a V-neck because they're quite tight. So they're really like clean underneath a V-neck. There's no sort of like crumpling or like they feel very comfortable underneath a V-neck, whereas if the t-shirt's like a bit too loose, I don't like when this gets a bit all like, you know. And then jeans these were originally a pair of men's 501s which I had tailored. The Row loafers, sorry, I'm going to speed this up because my camera battery's flashing. Totem trench from a couple of seasons ago, and then do you know what, I'm going to have a basket bag with this just to kind of like balance it out a bit. This is them all pinned, so I've kept them super relaxed, but it means they just don't fall down. Yeah, the length is like perfect. myself out. Osteopath was great, by the way. I'm definitely going back if I start feeling more back issues or any like shoulder pain. It was just great. Don't know what I was scared of, because I came out of that just feeling like 10 times lighter, and I was like, oh, my posture. Anyway, yeah, continuing the week of kind of sorting myself out, I went to a dermatologist yesterday because although I kind of like self-diagnosed that I had a bit of a skin barrier problem, and I sort of started to pull back on a lot of my skincare, I was still a bit, you know, worried that maybe there was something else going on. I'm not very knowledgeable with skin or skincare, so at the best of times, so I was like, maybe I should get the opinion of someone who actually knows what they're talking about. And I'm glad I did, because within like 2 minutes of arriving, he was like, yeah, you've got rosacea. I was like, oh, okay, great. Like that's some great clarity. Now I can fine tune my skincare more and like understand the problem more, because I was just sort of like muddling through thinking, oh, just get stuff to fix the skin barrier, but actually it's a rosacea issue. And I said to him, I was like, oh, that's something that's never even crossed my mind. Like no facialist has ever even like floated that idea out. And he was like, well, then typically a facialist probably isn't going to say that to you. They're just going to tell you to like hydrate and exfoliate and those kinds of things, which is true. Like every time I go and get a facial, they're like, just try exfoliate more, which doesn't work, just makes my skin even more angrier. And he was like, also the type of rosacea you have isn't the really red type. You've got the bumpy type. Obviously it has that's not the actual name, I can't remember the name of it. So he was like, that's also another reason why you might not have thought that rosacea was the issue, because, you know, typically that's not what you thought rosacea looked like. And it's, did I just say rosacea? Which is right. In my head, rosacea is something that's a lot redder and looks, you know, quite sore. And I do have days where it's quite red, but it's more just like ever-changing bumps, and sometimes the bumps are quite angry, sometimes they're not. So I can fine-tune my skincare a bit more. I think I need to I'm going to change out my SPF, because I think my SPF's a bit clogging. As much as I love it, I don't think it's the best for my skin. And then there was like a SkinCeuticals neutralizer thing, a soothing mask from Aven. What was the other one? There was also, there's like an acid from Paula's Choice, but it wasn't the one in the grey bottle that everyone loves. It was a different one. But then he was also like, don't forget that this can, you know, also be hugely affected by your diet and your mental health. And obviously I'd already, you know, I've said previously about how I'm pretty sure there's a correlation between the increase in sugar in my diet and the behaviour of my skin. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. But now I've got my Invisalign back in full time, I think that's going to really help me with the kind of stopping me from snacking on so much sugary stuff, because I can't snack now because I've got this in. But when I was using it as a retainer at night, man, I just love sugar. Okay, I'm addicted to sugar. I love sweets, I love pastries, I love chocolate. But I was having way too much of it, way too much. And if I want to see a change in my skin, I think I have to look beyond the skincare for sure. Hello. It is so windy outside. I was this close to packing away every single one of my turtlenecks yesterday. I didn't really do a wardrobe switchover. I just kind of packed away some really heavy things, like heavy coats that I felt weren't going to get any more wear until autumn, winter. And just like really thick knitwear, but I was like, I'll keep a couple of pieces out because you just never know. Well, lo and behold, one day later, it's that windy out there that it's making it feel really cold. So I've just decided to wear this very comfy but extremely oversized knit from Ray. I got it about a year ago and it just hasn't been worn much because it is so oversized. Like, I've just come to accept that Ray is just not a brand that works for me. It's oversized to the point where it just doesn't, like, none of it really fits that well. The jeans are okay, but everything else just, yeah. But I kept hold of this because it is very cozy. I was like, I think I can make it work. And it is nice for just like when I want a very like relaxed, slouchy look. Put it on with my Jean Erica jeans again. Same cos belt, same Marie H sneakers. Honestly, this is, I'm very much in a uniform state of mind of dressing at the moment. It's the same things kind of over and over, but just like swapping out things whilst we kind of navigate this transitioning period. I'm also going to put on my AF Aga wax jacket. Like, the only issue is though, because this is so oversized, it's actually really hard to wear underneath outerwear. Like, you know, when you just feel like there's too much fabric all bunched up, like, yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? I actually think I'm just going to switch this out for a black jumper. It's just not, there we go. Shayna Moat to the rescue. I love this knit so much. It's kind of like the black counterpart, but the proportions of it are less oversized, and the neckline is there's less fabric around there, so it's not as, it doesn't create that like annoying, uncomfortable gathered look when I put a coat on. Also, guys, just gonna hard launch the egg. Yeah, I got it. I finally got it. Secondhand. I have been hunting down this bag secondhand for a long time. But every time I found it for like a price that I was prepared to pay, the condition was like a little bit too beaten up. I know that this is going to be a bag that gets marks and scratches on, but I kind of want to be the one to do that, if that makes sense. Like, I don't mind a bag getting a bit scratched up, but I want to be the one to do the scratching. And then eventually it just presented itself to me. Got it for around, I think with all of the duties and everything, because it didn't come from the UK, unfortunately, it was about 50% the retail price. It has a few marks on it, but honestly, they're barely noticeable. And yeah, it was definitely worth the wait. I got to the point where I was like, oh, am I ever going to find it? And thought about maybe buying it full price, but then it just presented itself to me. Surprisingly can fit quite a bit in this bag, considering it's kind of like unconventional shape. It is heavier than the usual bag, but it's not like too heavy. It's like carrying around a sculpture, a sculpture that I can store things in. I love it. I love what it does to something like so simple as like jeans and just jeans and a jumper. Yeah, the egg. The easiest way to explain the extension is going to be to actually show you the plan rather than trying to do like a walkthrough. So if you remove this, this is our current house now on the ground floor, and this is what we propose to build. Well, not propose anymore, this is all approved, so this is the plan. So this red line here is the extension, the old extension that's just been knocked down. So this is everything that will be built. So it will house a new bathroom, a bigger bathroom, then a kind of pantry. This will be a side entrance into the house. This will be like a pantry utility kind of area, and then this will be all kitchen and dining space. All of these bits here that you see of like the table, the units, etc., aren't the final resting place. It's more just to kind of get an idea of how the space could be. So yeah, this is our lounge and dining that you see quite a lot, and then this is our hallway, and then this is our kitchen now, which I'll spin around and show you. So it's quite small, as you can see. So the plan will be, this will kind of be almost like a hallway. So if I back up even more, it will just be a continuation of this hallway. So you'll walk through here. This will no longer be a door, this will be a window. That will be all blocked up. And then you'll turn to the right here, and this will be an opening into the kitchen and dining space. So this will all be just wall, and probably some sort of like big kind of storage cupboard thing. And then yeah, through here, nice window, turn right, and then you'll step into the extension, which I'll go out now and kind of show you the space, but because it's so windy out there, you might not be able to actually hear me talk. So I just thought that would be easier to just show you the plans. So outside is looking like an absolute mess. That's where the old extension was, as you can see. And then, so we're off to Devon next week. So once we come back from Devon, it will be all systems go. So the first job will be to hire a digger and completely knock up this concrete pad and then dig out footings. Once footings are dug out, you'll be able to see how the extension is going to look a lot easier. We've kind of marked out, you can see yellow lines on the floor where it will be, but it's really hard to kind of get an idea of it. And it will be half 2 stories. So imagine on the side of the house here, we are literally putting on like a big L shape. So that the box bedroom that is there, which you barely ever see because it's just like a storage room at the moment, is going to be extended out this way. So this will be 2 stories, and then all along here, just 1 story. This will actually kind of better explain the L shape that I was trying to show you. So this is what we're adding on to the side. So that is how it will look from that side that I just showed you when it's finished. This will be the door. That's the bathroom window. These are kitchen windows. So that door leads into the utility space. And then round the back here will be double doors that lead out into the garden. The time has come for the outro. It's Saturday night, the night before the morning this vlog's going to go live. I have not done a Sunday morning upload for quite a while, and I know lots of you across different time zones will be very pleased, because those of you in the UK often say that you like a Sunday morning because you can sit and watch it in the morning, and then those of you the other side of the world like to sit and watch them on the Sunday evening. So I feel very pleased that I've managed to do a Sunday morning upload. But to just really bring it back to the negative self-talk that I touched on at the start of the vlog, which, by the way, wasn't like a whole woe is me type thing. I just wanted to be transparent about the headspace that I've been in lately. I can only apologise for the scrappiness of this vlog. I mean, it was literally like a March scrapbook, wasn't it? It was just all the clips from the month kind of put together. But also apologies for how weird some of the clips look in terms of like quality and colour. I didn't realise the extent of the damage to my vlog camera and kind of just continued using it. And then when I put all the clips into Premiere Pro today, I was like, oh crap, something is seriously wrong with like the lens on my camera. So yeah, sorry about that. Some of the clips look so weird, like colours, just something so off. But rest assured that will not happen again, because I think I've wanted to get a different vlog camera for a while, because I don't like the colours that come out of the Sony. I've got the Sony ZV-1. I much prefer Canon's colours, but I don't like the Canon G7X. So maybe I need to explore some other Canon cameras that could work as a vlog camera perhaps. But my nephew's going to be very pleased that this will now be handed down to him. I imagine this was all part of his plan. But yeah, it felt good to actually sit and put a vlog together. I think when I withdraw from things, whether it is like videos or like content on Instagram, or whether it's just like things that need doing around the house, or like decisions that I need to make around the house, withdrawing actually is the worst thing I can do. And in many cases, just kind of doing the things that I've been avoiding doing and just trusting my gut or trusting my instinct with kind of like creative decisions is the best thing to do. And when I say it out loud, it's like, duh, like obviously. But I think when I'm in a very negative headspace, and when I'm doing lots of negative self-talk, and when I'm kind of like chipping away at my self-confidence more and more and more, the withdrawal seems like the only thing I can do. So it felt good today to just be like, right, I'm going to sit, I'm going to focus on this. And it did feel like it was like pulling me out of this headspace I've been in. So yeah, when you actually just lay it out like that, when I'm saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually just like really simple stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this vlog. And until the next one, I hope you're doing well. And yeah, I'll see you all soon.